Thank you so much for watching RIF TV. Now, this interview is obviously with video, but I don't interview everybody on Zoom. That's why I put it on my Talkin' Rock with Meltdown podcast. We talk to rock artists from all over the genre. So check out Talkin' Rock with Meltdown wherever you get your podcasts. And now to today's video interview. Blöthar, what an honor to talk to you. How you doing?
Well, you know, I'm hot. Who would have known that Reading, Pennsylvania would be like the surface of the sun this time of year? Apparently it is.
Yeah, you're getting what we got yesterday, I think. So are you out on tour or what do you got going on right now?
Yeah, we're on tour. I don't otherwise come to Reading, Pennsylvania for the seafood or anything like that. We're on tour and riding through Amish country here.
Yeah, so you got to try the what do they call that? The wet bottom shoe fly pie.
Ooh,
yeah,
that sounds wet bottom. It's just delicious already.
So how's things going for you now that things are kind of going back to normal?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, it's always been normal for us. Just a bunch of people dying.
That's
just
true.
Another world of GWAR. I mean, yeah, it's great, you know, to be out on the road actually throttling humans rather than sitting at home reading about how they're killing each other off. So it's been fun to get back out there on the road and do what we do best, which is I don't know what the hell is it that we do best. We do something. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So you got the new record as well, the Dark Ages. That record's awesome. You know, I was listening to it. I'm thinking to myself, you sound like someone, and I couldn't really place my finger on it. Then it kind of hit me. A little bit of Dee Snider in there. Have you heard that one yet?
I haven't heard any Dee Snider. Some people say Blackie Lawless, which, you know, have you seen what Blackie Lawless looks like lately?
I have not, but I interviewed him recently, but I didn't get to see what he looked like. He was on the phone, but I haven't. Have you?
He looks like me, basically. Just you slap a wig on me, and that's Blackie Lawless. So I'm actually very complimented when people say that. But you know, Dee Snider too. I mean, he's a great singer. He's got a confusing stage presence, but you know, hey, so do I.
I was just gonna say, yeah.
Yeah. But I've always been a fan of Dee Snider, especially, you know, he's a smart guy too. So that's good.
Well, tell us about the new record. What was your goal in putting on a record at this stage in your career? Like, do you have something in mind, or was it stuff that you had just pent up and built up through the pandemic, or what?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, 15 years, 15 albums down the line, 30 some years, 35 years. You could ask, why is GWAR making records at all? Well, we're making records because we got stuff to say. And you know, it's really a whole new band. The band is a lot different than it has been in the past. And the new Dark Ages is just a reflection, you know, looking around at the world and the state of things right now. But we wanted to do something different. We wanted to put out an album that you know, we're going to try something, an experiment. Do something with music that we have never done before. I mean, GWAR's done bluegrass, we've done funk, we've done disco, we've done, you know, hard rock and heavy metal, obviously, polka, Tejano music, you name it. But we wanted to do something we'd never done with music before, and that's make money.
So you haven't done that yet, huh? But you're going to try this time.
That's right. This time, surely we have the right combination of vapidness and sex appeal to make unlimited amounts of money.
Yeah, the cash is going to flow in. There's no doubt. So speaking of that, I was thinking about this on the way in. How is your merchandising? Do you guys make a good living off merchandising, GWAR?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We will. There is no limit to how we will prostitute ourselves. You know, people look at Kiss. I mean, Kiss, I was reading something the other day. Some stupid fan was saying, oh, look, Kiss is in a car commercial. They sold out. I'm like, are you kidding me? They were born sold out. That's what they're designed for, is selling out. and GWAR is the same way. You know, we just want enough money that we can, you know, sit back and buy a bunch of cigars and hand sanitizer and toilet paper and watch the whole world die. That's what we want.
So, growing up, were you a fan of Kiss?
Of course,
Yeah.
of course, absolutely. You know where I heard Kiss the first time, and this is a true story. My grandmother had, for some reason, a bunch of albums, and she had, you know, Freddie Fender and you know, the very best of country with that song "Dang Me, they ought to take a rope and hang me," all that kind of stuff. And then right there on the bottom was Kiss "Rock and Roll Over." I have no idea why my grandmother had this record, but she did, and I couldn't stop looking at it. Right. And then when I listened to it, I was like, "Oh wow, man, this is really something else." So yeah, I was a huge fan. You know, and plus they sing about, like, you know, hanging around in ladies' rooms and riding up to an elementary school and waiting for the chicks to come out. Like that's the kind of thing Gene Simmons was into.
I was just thinking about that before you said. And of course they sing about Detroit Rock City.
Yeah, that's right, Detroit Rock City. But then there's also Christine 16, which I guess now would be Christy 60.
Right. At least Christine 26. But
Yeah.
so let me ask you about this, because when you open up that record for the first time as a kid, I mean, looking at the members of Kiss, that's like mind blown, right? And back in the day, it's like you didn't really know about these guys and stuff. So that leads me with GWAR. It's kind of like the same way, but now talk about the advent and the inclusion of the internet as to maybe making you know, putting you guys out there a little bit more, and maybe some of the mystique is kind of maybe gone a little bit from all our favorite bands.
Yeah, I mean, from the world, mystique has gone away with the internet. Everybody has information, but information is a hell of a lot different than knowledge, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's certainly different than wisdom. But I mean, what you see is you're absolutely right. The culture. If you think of when the Beatles, when Kiss came out, you're talking about there were very few sort of outlets to see and to witness this. So everything came out of the nozzle with a lot more force. Right now, it's just a big wide hose with everything dripping slowly out, making a gravy of suck. But I mean, really, to be honest with you, I think that that for all of that, we still managed to have some kind of a mystique around GWAR. But you're absolutely right; it's not easy. And look at Kiss. I mean, now they're, you know, we know something about what Gene Simmons' life looks like because he did a reality show. You know, the same thing with Ozzy. I mean, I used to think, you know, people growing up would think Ozzy was an actual demon, you know, like I mean, those were the good old days when you could really pull the wool over people's eyes.
Right. Yeah, well, I remember, you know, when I was a kid, I think we're probably pretty close to the same age. When I was a kid and, you know, looking at Diary of a Madman, I'm like, man, this guy is like out of his mind. And now, of course, Ozzy's 73 years old having neck surgery. So,
yeah, you know, and I hope he's all right. I really do.
Yeah.
He's such a good singer. We were listening to him last night. It's just, yeah.
Where were you listening to him, on the tour bus?
You know what? I was, well, I was intoxicated, I will admit. And I was hanging around with the guys in the band Goat Whore and Necrogoblicon, excuse me. And we were in the dressing room and we were just listening to Ozzy. I mean, it was great. He's the king of melody, man. He writes really good melodies.
Yeah. No, Ozzy was my favorite growing up. And of course, you guys have this documentary coming out as well that's dropping on July 21st. This is GWAR. I saw the trailer for it, man. It looks super interesting. How long have you guys been working on this project? I know it's been done for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the pandemic, it's the same thing with the album. I mean, it didn't really take us 5 years to make an album. You know, there was a good year or more when we weren't not able to be in the same space. And so it kind of slowed things down. But the one thing that the pandemic also did is that it allowed us to focus more on these other avenues of expression that have always been a part of GWAR, like films and comics, but we haven't really been doing very much with them because we've just been in this cycle of putting out records and then going and doing our live show. So the pandemic did, I mean, one of the many, many good things about a worldwide pandemic was that it afforded GWAR the time to experiment with other means of expression. But, you know, I mean, we're also with this album, I mean, it's a different kind of record because we haven't put out a graphic novel at the same time as an album before, and the two are supposed to go together. And they do go together. So that's part of the experiment with this album. So hopefully people will like it. And the graphic novel's it's just a kind of a chance to fill out some of the themes on the album, and turned out very well.
Now, because of the 2-year layoff, did that afford you a chance to do that as well, or was that already in the works, or maybe in your mind?
We definitely wouldn't have done that if it weren't for the pangolins, you know, for eating pangolins over at a wet market in China allowed us to make this freaking graphic novel. You ever seen a pangolin? Very interesting.
I have not. No, maybe that should be in your show. Is that in your show?
A pangolin, no. Penguins, yes.
Yes.
Pangolins. I didn't even know pangolins existed. They look like messed up little armadillos.
So is there anything that you guys have talked about or tried to create for the show where you're like, no, this is way too over the top?
Absolutely not.
I
mean, we had a butt cannon that shot poop into the audience.
I'm sorry, you cut out a little bit. You had what?
We had a butt cannon.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it just sprayed oatmeal and chocolate syrup into the audience. That was great. Somebody said, you know what? That's a great idea. Let's do that. And so we did it, because we'll do anything, absolutely anything, for attention. Even if it's abuse, at least it's attention.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You say that, obviously, you say that the band's changed over the years. Obviously, there's been many, many members over the years. How is the musical, how's your musical vision changed, or has it stayed the same since the death of Dave?
Well, things have definitely changed. There's Odorous was he was a very, very funny guy with a lot to say. And when he would write songs, when he would perform, what he liked to do was he put hooks and things like that. Those kinds of things were secondary to this message of humor and he was great at that. He really was, but you wound up for this tour, for example, there was 42 pages of lyrics, 42 pages. That's a lot. I mean, so the guy, he filled a lot of space. One of the ways that we were able to kind of create some separation between what Odorous was doing and what I'm doing was cooling that out a little bit, right? Like leaving the music some space to breathe and focusing more on melody, focusing more on hooks and things like that. And it's worked out for us. It's been, the songs still sound like GWAR. They're still funny. They're still controversial and upsetting and all of that, but they just have a little bit of a different focus musically.
Is there ever a time when you're recording the record or doing the graphic novel or anything like this, even with the documentary, and you think to yourself, would Odorous do this? Do you ever think like that, or no?
No, I mean, and if we did, then it would be to do the opposite, right? I mean, see, the thing about it is that if we do what Odorous did, then it's going to look like just a cheap imitation. It's going to really call attention to the fact that the guy's not there, right? And because nobody's going to do Odorous as well as Odorous did Odorous, so we have to do what we do now, and that's really the thinking that we're working with.
Yeah, I know you don't know much about my history, but I took over for an afternoon guy that was on the radio for like almost 40 years. He was a legend. And for a little while, it took me a little bit of time to figure out, hey, this is my shift. And that might have been the same thing for you to think, well, this is now, you're the leader.
Yeah, it's a good, that's a good analogy. It is a similar situation. You know, and I'm sure that you tried to create some space. You tried to create your own identity on the air. And you did that, right? I mean, and that's very much what being the lead singer for a big, crazy, insane, ridiculous rock and roll band is. You got to find your own identity and build it like that. I mean, you know, think people look at Brian Johnson. I mean, he didn't do he doesn't really. Everybody's like, whoa, they replace AC/DC with a guy that sounds just like him. He doesn't sound just like him, not at all. Not at all. He has the same attitude. He has the same sort of approach to singing, but he has a different voice. You know, he's even pretty much. I'm pretty sure he has a different voice type, even right than Bon Scott did. So.
Yeah. Hey,
yeah.
real fast before we move on, I just wanted to touch again on this documentary. This is GWAR. So, is there somebody in the band that kind of archives everything, and then you guys put this together? How'd this work?
Yeah, you know, you asked me about that, and I think I probably didn't answer you.
Oh,
before,
that's all right. No, go ahead. No, you're fine.
This is GWAR. We do have an archivist in the band. Bob Gorman is the same person who made the book, which is called Let There Be GWAR. It was a coffee table book we made. And Bob, you know, he's always been, it's just like who he is a little squirrel-like figure that collects whatever he can get. And he's always been that way. I've known him since I was 15 years old. And so, yeah, I mean, he has a vast catalog of flyers and of dates written down and information about all the stuff that we did. And, you know, they came to us with the idea to do a film about GWAR. And we were already prepared. We had all this stuff to help them out because of Bob's efforts. But we also had a story, right? I mean, GWAR is a band that is, on stage, it's unlike anything that people have seen, but off stage, and the story about the organization that puts GWAR on is a fascinating story, and it's very. I think people are going to be shocked at how unique GWAR is. You just don't have a collective of artists and musicians working together to make something. You know, I mean, because Slipknot and Kiss, I mean, they may have designed their costumes, but they didn't make them, right? You know, I mean, there's GWAR, you have a group of special effects professionals and visual artists and sculptors and costumers that are in the band. They're also the people that come on stage and wear the outfits and get killed and do all of the stuff. You know, so it's a very unique organization.
Now, with the guys from Slipknot, they change their gear and their outfits, you know, every tour or whatever. Is there now when you change your outfits or when you make stuff for the stage? I mean, how much are you thinking about? Well, this has to be functional, or not?
I'd like to hire you because I like the way you think. I mean, no, apparently they don't think about that. So we just wear something that weighs 5,000 pounds and try to be, you know, it's like if David Lee Roth was just wearing a fat suit all the time. I mean, it's next to impossible to perform in this stuff. But I mean, that's sort of the aesthetic of GWAR. I mean, GWAR does have an aesthetic, and that aesthetic is that we smell bad and we look worse. And we're up there wearing a bunch of, you know, I mean, look at this stuff.
I feel naked, to be honest with you. You know, I don't have a mask or nothing on.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So my friend Todd Evans, you may have heard of him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's a good friend. He says that he wanted to ask you what the original name you wanted to use for your character.
Oh, my.
Can you say it? I don't even know.
Setting me up. Just, yeah, I can't really say that on the air. Filthy. I mean, I'll say it. You can bleep it if we're not.
Yeah.
Squidman Shitsucker. That was the original name. And, he would remember that. What a nut job.
Yeah. He's a great guy. He's become one of my really good friends here.
He's a good musician and he's freaking huge.
Huge. There's no question about it. He said, yeah, Blöthar is a monster bass player, had some killer other bands as well. He said Capone and a couple other ones that he mentioned.
Yeah, Capone, yes.
Oh, Capone,
yeah. We've been, we had a mutual admiration society. He's a good player. He really is. A good guitar player and a good bass player, and he was a good beefcake. He was definitely the most terrifying beefcake that we ever had.
He's told me some crazy stories. Hey, so, we were talking about Ozzy and stuff. Just a couple more things here for you. We'll let you fly. I don't know how much time you have, but when you're out doing these festival dates, what do other bands think? Are they watching from the side of the stage? Do you see a lot of that or no?
I mean, it's interesting. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. GWAR is not cool, right? Like and I'm talking about like Slayer cool, right? Like, we're not going to roll up and then the guys in Ozzy's band are like, oh, hey, how you guys doing? Come on over to our place, right? Because what GWAR is a bunch of comic book geeks. It's a bunch of guys that like horror movies. It's a bunch of guys that are into Japanese live action animation shows, right? We're goobers, we're gamers, we're D&D enthusiasts. And we don't really fit in with the, tight black pants and boots and tattoos of all the heavy metal guys. And that's fine. That's cool. Because we are what we are. And we like ourselves and we like each other. So, to be honest with you, I mean, sure, we have friends in music. It tends to be punk bands, which is how GWAR started. GWAR is really, even though we play heavy metal and that's how people think of the band, I mean, it's rooted in punk rock. And that's definitely where we're most comfortable.
Well, it's funny because, the Berserker Blothar, I thought that you and Zakk Wylde would be like, like this, like best friends, because he's kind of a berserker himself.
You're right. And I exaggerate, right? I mean, Blasco from Ozzy's band is a great guy and we hang out with him. There are certain bands, always been bands that and musicians that liked GWAR a lot. Dimebag was a big GWAR fan. Dave Mustaine, took some photos early on in our shirts, and then we sat around and hung around with that guy a little bit. I mean, there's definitely people that we associate with. Who's hilarious is Rudy Sarzo. That guy is really funny. Yeah, I do have some rock star friends, I suppose.
Yeah, no, Rudy's a great guy. I've never had a chance to meet him, but I interviewed him, and yeah, he's definitely a good dude. So, hey, when's the next time you're going to be on that Gutfeld show?
Oh, man, I don't know. I'm trying to cut back on the cocaine, if you know what I mean. It's hard over there at Fox News. Everyone's into the blow, if you know what I mean. Makes that little bow tie really spin around.
Here we go.
Yeah. No, I mean, seriously. I have absolutely no idea when I'm going to be on Gutfeld again. The last time I went, he was like, I don't like it because there's this delay when we talk to you by satellite. So we're going to bring you into the studio. That was a huge mistake because I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that we smell terrible because I'm sitting there and there's all of these very good looking conservative women around me and a big professional wrestler guy. And then Greg, and then there's me just stinking up the, yeah. So we'll see, I think if they can get past the smell, we'll be back. But honestly, I mean, shortly after the last appearance, it's like the world just kind of you know, I mean, all the stuff started happening in Ukraine. I mean, they've got a lot of stuff to talk about. So I think that's one reason they've pulled back from that a little bit, from the humor side of it. But it's a pretty funny show in some ways.
Yeah. Yeah, it's entertaining. So July 21st, This Is GWAR drops on streaming services on Shudder. All sorts of guests we didn't even talk about, but Weird Al and Bam Margera. Hopefully that guy's okay. Apparently he disappeared from his rehab or something.
Yeah, they did. I saw a picture of him. He looks almost exactly like his dad now. But you know, Bam's a cool guy, and we wish him the best. And I think he's going to be all right. He just, you know, I mean, it's hard. Life is hard. What can I say?
Yeah, and The Dark Ages is out, and The Dark Ages is such a killer record, man. And it's like, I don't know how I want to phrase it, but it's there's obviously there's just heavy stuff, but there's some stuff that's kind of like semi-commercial. Would you agree?
I would agree. I mean, the new Dark Ages is what it's called.
The new Dark. Oh yeah, the new Dark. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. But yeah, I mean, it definitely has some. I mean, it's got a different focus, like we talked about earlier. I mean, I don't know about. I mean, commercial. You know, some of the songs have. You know, I don't know how a MF.
Well, yeah, I said some of them, not all of them.
Well, but the weird thing is that, you know, we're trying to sell out. It's just that we have potty mouth. We can't do it. We're actually just literally physically unable, apparently, to make money. We have to just curse and ruin everything. But I mean, it definitely has more melody, and I think that might be what you're picking up on.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah, and Ratcatcher. I mean, the song Ratcatcher that we have, which is a song that first time GWAR's on the radio, you know.
Yes.
And it's nice that we're getting picked up like that. And that song definitely, we were thinking, you know, more like Alice Cooper, along those lines. You know, it was really funny because one time Alice Cooper was doing an interview. And I was a much younger guy, and I was watching this interview, and he started talking about GWAR. I'm like, what the heck? And so he says, you know, they're great, but they don't know how to write songs. They need to get somebody to write a song for them. Like, you know, and he suggested the guy who wrote Desmond Child, who wrote Dude Looks Like a Lady.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know, man, come on. And I felt very kind of insulted by it. And then years later, I realized that Desmond Child wrote some of his tunes. And that you know, really what Alice was doing was giving a piece of literal good advice, right? You know, get somebody to help you write one of these tunes. Like, so
have you ever had a chance to meet Alice and talk to him about that?
I've met him, yeah, and I didn't talk to him about that, but about a lot of other stuff. You know, he played golf with Odorous.
Oh yeah.
Who was also a golfer. And I mean, you know, he's a really, really funny guy. He's got great taste in music, and he really understands rock and roll and music, period. I mean, even vaudeville, you know, he's got a really depth of knowledge of music that's very admirable.
It's funny you say that because that record, the Leather and Lace record or whatever, that's like the only record I just cannot stand from Alice Cooper. I think I gave it away. I'm like, just get this record out of my house, but the rest of them I love. You know, you mentioned vaudeville, so.
Yeah. No. You're right. Well, I mean, I think it's more the performance aspect. Like when I say vaudeville, like,
I got you. Okay.
Yeah. His point was always, look, this is nothing new. You know, and I remember seeing an interview with him where he was talking about Mae West seeing Alice Cooper perform and talking to her, and she's like, yeah, this is vaudeville, you know. I can't imagine meeting Mae West. You know, here I am talking about Alice Cooper. I want to meet Mae West.
Are you still teaching?
We have similar.
Yeah, similar assets, right? Are you still teaching?
No,
Okay.
I don't teach. I was a Well, the human thrall of Blöthar, Michael Bishop, was a music professor at the University of Virginia, but for about 12 years, but no more.
That's interesting because music is so subjective, and you could talk to 50 different people about one song, and everybody has a different take on it.
Oh yeah, they do. And it's like Elvis Costello said that writing about music is like dancing about architecture. Definitely true that and what we focused on there wasn't music journalism as much as it was music history and ethnography and writing about music and things like that.
Well, I'll tell you what, I could talk about music with you, Blöthar, for the rest of the day, but I know you got stuff going on, and I do appreciate your time. The new Dark Ages is out. Congratulations on the record. It is, to quote a fellow Detroiter, Ted Nugent, bombastic. So, good news. Crazy. So, well, Blöthar, thank you so much for your time.
All right. Thank you.